Good morning. Good morning, Amber Archers. It's Monday, November 11th, and it's time for Archers Live with Mr. Hale and Alyssa. Happy Veterans Day.
This weekend is a big one for around 60 of our students in grades 4 through 8. After months of preparation, Frozen Jr. finally takes the stage. This week, we'll get a sneak peek of some of the main characters. Coming up, we have the first one, as well as several Archer bullseyes. Let's get this week started. Archers Live starts right now.
Today, we have Jamison and Adison from Mrs. Chopper's class to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Let's get the week started with our weekly Archer bullseyes. Mrs. Laker sends Archer bullseyes to the following students. Corbin Sargent for helping in the auditoria after an elementary student dropped the tray. Corbin helped clean up the mess and kept other students from walking into it. Nice job, Corbin.
And Brendan Weidenhammer for helping clean up the bus after the 8th grade trip to Vantage, even though he was not the student who made the mess.
Mrs. Carnes sends an Archer bullseye to the following students for volunteering to demonstrate library stations during the Discovery Education Forum last week. Some of these students gave up their recess time to help out. Teachers, thank you as well for letting these students participate. Eliza Klein, Kyler Johnson, Isaac Meyer, Wyatt Klein, Braxton Peters, Tucker Doster, Grayson Kelso, Briley Bagley, Emery Jones, Lucas Sproles, Weston Roanhouse, Gabby Snyder, Ryo Gonzalez, and Gannon Sheehan.
Mrs. Boyer sends Archer bullseyes to Mr. Sisson's STEM class students for helping out with the Discovery Education activities on Thursday. She also sends one to Mrs. Bauer, Mrs. Kennedy, Mrs. Chopper, Mr. Tomlinson, and Mr. Sisson for giving up class time to help lead Discovery Education STEM activities.
And last, Mrs. Stuckey sends an Archer bullseye to Benton Rogie. Benton always makes sure all the trash is cleaned up on the tables at lunchtime. Thank you, Benton.
On the lunch menu for today, we're having a hot dog, baked beans, orange smiles, and milk or salad bar.
On the calendar today, Manchester University will be here during AA to meet with interested students, and freshman and sophomore class officers need to meet in Mr. Zuber's room today during AA. Again, freshman and sophomore class officers need to meet in Mr. Zuber's room today during AA.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, middle and high school staff and faculty. Don't forget, you have a meeting in the library at 7:25 in the morning. Don't be late.
Frozen Jr. takes the stage in just a few days, so as has become our tradition, this week we'll be hearing from some of the cast members on our mini Archer update. Let's take it over to our first guest to hear more about the origin of the play.
Good morning, Archers. I'm Braylon, and I'll be playing Hans this weekend in Frozen Jr. Frozen's origin is actually from a book by Hans Christian Andersen called The Snow Queen. Walt Disney had his eye on the book and wanted to make this movie back in the 1930s. It was supposed to be a short animated movie, but was never completed. Tickets for our production of Frozen are now on sale now in the high school office and will be available at the door. Come see Frozen Jr. this weekend. Back to you, Alyssa and Mr. Hale.
Thanks, Braylon. Attention student drivers, listen up. In case you missed this announcement on Friday, we have numerous students driving to school and parking in the student lot that have not signed up for or paid for a parking tag. All student drivers must do this by tomorrow, or Mr. Lisi will begin enforcing the student handbook consequences. These consequences can be found on the student handbook pages 16 through 17. Get it done. Thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Attention students going on the University of Toledo College of Medicine Cadaver Lab Field Trip Friday. Please meet in Mr. Zuber's room tomorrow during AA.
In guidance news, Wright State is waiving application fees for students through the month of November. Students can use the fee waiver code Apply Now 2019 in the payment section of the application. This code can only be applied to Wright State's application as it cannot be used through Common App.
Middle school students, Friday is your last day in the first 12-week exploratory course. You will start your second 12-week course on Monday. See Counselor Hammer with any questions.
In student council news, if there are any last-minute Archie shirt forms, please turn them in to Mrs. Reyes ASAP.
And student council members, please check your email. Mrs. Reyes sent a message about cake raffle sign-up.
From the athletic department, fall athletic awards will take place tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in the main gym. Please let your coach or Coach Ultimus know if you can't attend. Please dress appropriately, and winter sports pictures will be taken on Thursday.
That's all we have for today, so it's time for Mr. Hale to call out our guest anchor for tomorrow. Mr. Hale, who will it be?
Well, listen, I've really reflected on this all weekend about who I want to call out. And I thought about going maybe Mr. Ultimus, but you guys have such a nice equipment down here. I didn't want that stuff to get broke. Mr. Zuber's a good candidate. I thought about let's go maybe to the elementary section. Mrs. McMichael could be a good candidate maybe. But, after a little reflection, we're gonna send it back to the students on this. So, tomorrow morning, in this seat, Dylan Hines, you will be here tomorrow morning.
Okay, Dylan, we'll see you in this seat tomorrow morning at 7:40. Have a nice snowy Monday, everyone, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.